Hello guys, welcome to watch my video vlog again. Today we have a heritage walk at the railway station from Ipoh railway station until the Plan B area. Okay, so you can see my teacher Mr. Sunny is organizing these events, and you can see my classmates. We are learning English together. Stanny, Darona and his families, and also Victor is here. He's flying the drone later. So this is Ipoh, very famous railway station. Later we are waiting for Mr. Sunny to do some introduction on the heritage in Ipoh. See you. Okay, let's start the class now.
My name is Rosh, R-O-S-H. Today we are here is to get to know more about Ipoh. And this is not just a first time event, it's an annual event. Every year Mr. Sunny does this in conjunction with Merdeka and Malaysia Day.
And for charity.
And for charity.
Oh.
And the proceeds from here will be used to buy groceries. They just won't give cash, they will buy groceries and they will give it to the charitable body. Speaking about Sunny here, what can I say? He is the walking encyclopedia and talking dictionary about Ipoh. Not just Ipoh, but about history. Why? Because history is a boring subject for all of us. We only know his story because we like to gossip a lot. But we do not know the story of this building. Probably this platform here I'm standing has what? Only Sunny knows it. So, Sunny, can you please come here? Let the bus go. Okay. Sunny today is a humble man because the same man wearing shorts, shoes and a collared t-shirt, just like how a British used to wear back then. He has not only walked foreigners, he has also walked royalists, ambassadors, academicians, laymen like you and me, and many others in the same route for not less than 300 times, which means today will be his 301 time. So we are all honored for this. Without further ado, can I please call Sunny to say a few words and let's start exercising by, should we warm up our legs? No need, huh? Okay. Sunny.
Thank you. Roshan Dhaliwal. Roshan Dhaliwal is a friend of mine. He came all the way from Kuala Lumpur. He's a law student in Brickfields College. My parents are here. I called him today. He came. See, these are great people. Huh? And good morning to everybody, each and everyone who is present here today. Knows me well, all my friends. And it's a pleasure having you people around here. At the same time, it's also a pressure for me because this is the first time I am going to cater for people who are already staying in Ipoh. You're knowledgeable on Ipoh will be much more than me, I believe, because I believe in sharing, not teaching. Enough of teaching. I believe in sharing. And I do my business very seriously. I've catered for more than 300 walks here, mainly people who come from outside, not from here. But here today is a pleasure and a pressure, which I am facing. But it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we are all brothers and sisters because I don't see any Malays here today, any Chinese today, no Indians. All pure Malaysians. And I would like to also thank my dear friend, Dr. Cecilia Chan, who came all the way from Penang. All the way. I mean, I was very touched. You know, she came because we are here. It's not a problem. She came all the way to join this walk, which is nothing so big. And every year I do this walk as a charity walk because this money that we collect, we will donate it to a charitable body, say for that children's home and whatnot. Last year I did it in Papan, and the same group that helped me to cater, and we bought some provisions. Normally we don't give cash to any organization. We buy provision and give it to them. If you want to know why I buy things, you must ask the previous Prime Minister. Not me. Najib, to be very frankly. So ladies and gentlemen, let's not waste any more time. We got nice weather. Are you all prepared?
Yeah.
You don't have to exercise, make this a leisure walk. Just listen to what I'm going to share with you. If you have anything to share with me, please share with me. This walk is around within 1 hour or so. I don't do the full course, right? I'm going to do the enclavement within the old town here. I will just pass, from here I will proceed to the town hall, to the courts, to the club, Ipoh club. Then I will come down. I will ask you all to sit for a while at the Ipoh Padang. I hope there is no activity today. Then from there we will proceed to Hong Kong Shanghai Bank. Then we go to Chung Tai Ping building, new Chung Tai Ping building. All these are the heritage enclavement, and we will stop at Birch Memorial. Why Birch Memorial? Because easy for you to come and take your car here. Okay? Right? Alright? And today among us we have various students from tourism. We have students from international school. I'm also teaching partly at the international school. Every Monday, forced teaching. I don't want to teach, they force me to teach. So I have some of the students here. On the way, I will pick one or two just to ask them to give a 2 minutes impromptu speech. And we have got great person to evaluate the speech, like Julian, can you raise your hand? Rizal, Arun, and also Roshan. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go inside. I'm going to start my turn. Okay. We'll start here. Ipoh railway station. Ipoh became active somewhere around 1860 onwards. The year I can't give you the month and date. Why it became active is because during that era, the British were already here. They were already mining in 2 towns nearby. One is Papan, which was already a town, and the other was Gopeng. Ipoh was still a jungle, a primary jungle. Its inhabitants were mostly the indigenous crowd, orang asli. They were the people here. So that is why we got this name called Ipoh. Why? The indigenous people here were already here using the milky sap from a tree called Ipoh. That sap is actually like a tranquilizer. They use it in the blowpipe dart to tranquilize animals for their food. So from there derived the name Ipoh. When Chinese were here, they called it Palo. Palo means pool, right? But that name didn't stick long. But anyway, we still have Kampung Palo, if you know. So Kampung Palo is there. And then Ipoh, E-P-A-U, by Hulo. He named it Ipoh. Various names came, but finally they stick to the name called Ipoh. So that's all evidence that you can't bluff about it. It's evidence. So that's why Ipoh here. After I'll show you the Ipoh tree. Have you all seen the Ipoh tree? How many of you all have not seen the Ipoh tree? I see there are still some who have not seen the Ipoh tree. So we will see the Ipoh tree.
My parents still call here Palo one.
Yeah, the name was Palo, then it changed to Ipoh. Now it's Ipoh because of the tree.
What does Palo mean?
Palo means pool, P-O-O-L, mining pool.
In the old generation, people call it Palo.
So when they were here, there was already a large war in a place called Klien Pao. Klien Pao is actually Taiping lah, but those days it was called Klien Pao. Klien Pao, there was already a large war between 2 Chinese groups, Gihings and the Hai Sans. So many of them came running to Ipoh. Then when the Gopeng and Papan was full of people, too many people there, people start coming. So that is how this place became larger. And at the same time, the British found tin deposited here. So what they did was, they cleared the place first. When I say mining started in Ipoh, it was not like how you think mining today. It was all very uncivilized method. because they didn't have dredge. They have to use their own charcoal, dig it out, go down to the pool, carry the tin ore with a bucket, self-made bucket, and climb up the steps and all this. So that is how they mined those days. But then they were rich is because they found a lot of tin here. So the middleman made a lot of money. The middlemen are people like Yao Yaksen, the man who developed Ipoh, Leong Phi, Fong, Fu's family, Fu Yan Kai, Fu Chong, all these people, Chung Taiping's family, and all these people, they became extremely rich, very rich, super rich. That is why Ipoh is known as a town of Mercedes-Benz. You all know that? Have you seen the symbol, the Mercedes symbol? It's because of tin. So when they were mining here, the British then saw that they need to transport the tin. They need to transport tin to a place called Portwell. Have you heard Portwell?
Yes.
Now it's known as Kuala Sepetang. Okay, Portwell, but its original name was Portwell. So the first railway line was built in 1885 from Taiping to Portwell. So I was telling, it started somewhere in the 1860s. So at that time here, there was a railway station here. The station was a wooden attap station with dried palm leaves. You know the palm leaves? That was what the station was. And when the British acquired a lot of money by transporting tin to Taiping, and from Taiping they sent to Portwell, from Portwell they can ship it out. Those days they had steamers. It will take days and days to reach to the destination. Many of them die along the way too. So that was the hard life. And the miners here also had a very terrible life. Why they had a terrible life? It's not like how you think. They live in a very sheltered home. Their staple diet was just plain rice with salted vegetable, you know, with the jar, salted vegetable, and that's it. Or maybe some dried fish or salted fish or things like that. No KFC, no KFC, no McDonald's. They had a very hard time. That must be your 5th generation or the 6th generation. And the Chinese, they came from 3 provinces in China, mainly from Guangdong province, Fujian, and an island called Hainan. These are the Hainan Curve that is it. These are the 3 places. My Chinese sisters and brothers who are here, when you go back and trace your generation, you will go back to either these are the places that they mainly came from. There could be others, but mainly Guangdong, Fujian, and Hainan province. They were brought here. Why did they came here at that time? It's because these places were experiencing starvation. There was there were poverty, starvation, no food, no way. They came running. For example, the last Chinese captain, Chung Taiping. Chung Taiping was forced by his mother to go and find his father and brother who was already here. But he was quite lucky. When he came and landed, his brother was already doing very well. And they were like secret society head and all these things in Taiping. The father he didn't find. So that's where he picked up the trade and he became a multi-millionaire. The whole family, if you were to trace these families, most of these families that I've come across, Leong Phi's family, Fu Yakat's family, they are not living here. They come here for holidays. They're all living abroad and they're all doing very well. Some are not even working because of their great-great-grandfathers who have done fortune here. Okay. So that was how they got this tin. So when the British got it, this is the evidence. Why I brought it here? This is the evidence. This was built somewhere around 1917, just after the First World War. And the British tore down the earlier wooden building and raised up this building. From that tip to this tip is 183 meters long. It is 183 meters long. You see, they built a very large, majestic railway station at that time. Do you think, do they need that much of such a big railway station? Even now I see how much crowd comes in, the railway station can cater for it because it's really big. Do you think at that time, because when they started to do this in 1914 or 1913, before the World War, they had to bring in their expertise. So the only place they can look for expertise was India. Do you know why India? Because at that time it was already known as British India. So they found a very good architect from India. He's a British man. He was born in a town called Liverpool in Britain, and he was working in India. So they took him here. His name was Arthur Benson Herbert, A.B. Herbert. They brought Herbert here. Herbert came down and he said, "You design for me a building." Huh? The resident at that time asked him to design a building for him. That is this building. So he was just looking around because he has already done, at that time he has already done the railway station in KL. So this one he architected. So he did use two types of architecture. One is Neo-Renaissance and the other was Mughal. It's a hybrid in between these two architecture. That's how he built. For evidence, you can see this type of triangle, window top. These are all Neo-Renaissance evidence. You can see the arch. Can you see the arch? At each arch, they have got a keystone. Can you see the bird sitting on top? That stone is called a keystone. Keystone, and you can see the pillars, Roman pillars and all. So these are evidence that shows that they are using Neo-Renaissance architecture. The second thing is it very spacious? It's very spacious, very airy. You see, even he knows the climate is hot. He has made it so nicely. Even on a hot day, when you stand here, you won't feel the heat. You feel quite okay. You still can tolerate the heat. So these are the evidence. Because Neo-Renaissance architecture focus on balance, symmetry, and also harmony. It's very harmonious here. You look into it, and all this material comes from England. They shipped it from England at that time. They are using a stock brick. This is called a stock brick. Very solid brick, like a rock. That is why you can't shake the building. I don't know about these tiles. They came much later, but these are the original structure. Okay. And in this railway station, at the same time, the British built a hotel up there. It is called Majestic Hotel. Can you see Majestic Hotel? There you are, Majestic Hotel. It's closed now. Unfortunately, it's closed. How many of you all have been there? Good. You see how huge the place is? I've seen very nice place. If you go up there, to be very precise, there is 21 rooms. 21 rooms with a servant room. Because those days, all the great corporate figures, the Britishers who came, they had their servants with them. Now we call them maid, but those days they called the servants. They brought the servants along to take care of them. And they had 21 rooms there. Their bathroom is very big. The bathroom is very big because they don't fetch pail of water and pour on themselves. They like to soak on a long tub while they are having some drinks or reading a book or whatever. This is the culture of the British people those days. Or they might have a cigar and soaking themselves in the warm water and thinking what to do next, you know. So it was placed here somewhere in 1935. There are various Victoria's time, Edward's time. You must see that. But ours came here during this time, this era, because that was the time the British filled it. And this is a British post box. It is still being used, you know. 28 of them they brought. I saw somewhere in Penang Hill. I've seen opposite Central Market in KL, museum in KL, a few original ones. If you go to Concubine Lane, you'll see the replica of it in one of the shops. Bit of plastic. Okay? So I'm very sure many of you all have passed by, but okay? Alright? Now we slowly go across. Written here, everything was imported from England because they didn't have any expertise here. So these are the evidence. The person who did this was A.B. His real name was Arthur Benson. Watch the car. Arthur Benson Herbert. Herbert is a British guy. So this is also called Taj Mahal of India. How many of you all have been to Taj Mahal in India? There you are. But this is not here yet. The pump. The pump is they shoot in the soil and then they will drain it out And after that, they use some sort of a style like penning. Penning is in Malay we call dulang. And then you mesti pandai menari, yeah? Something like that. They have got a technique, you know. Okay. So when they do the penning, when the penning there, the system is it will separate the unwanted materials and the ore will be on the other side. To do that also you must have license from the mining department. You must have license. They're not simply doing it. In those days, they used to collect one tin. One tin is more than enough. They pay them 50 cents, straight settlement cent. Not 50 cent, cent. That is a lot of money.
What is that?
Straight settlement.
I mean, the minor is.
Yes, 50 cents.
If I get one thing, I give you and you pay me.
50 cents.
Yeah.
50 cents is a lot of money. Not today. Today you go to the toilet 50 cents. But you also dapat take 10 cents extra, kan? So 50 cents was a lot of money. The whole family can survive on 50 cents. So that was the way. Why I'm telling you is that the previous generation, Jackie, they really went hard times. Not like you. So. Now you jet fly, people drive you here and there. You are a big tauke. You can wear sport shoes. Those days no shoes, ma.
Grandparents time, yeah.
So this is your great parents' time. They went through the hard time. Without them, you're not here. Always remember. So this is something that we have to pay respect to them. So after that, slowly they had that is a dredge system, but that is not the dredge that was made by the England company. Alright, this was a dredge. This one was started somewhere in 1900. Same bucket, but a smaller bucket system and all these things. The dredge came, the first dredge that came to Malaya was in 1912. And it was in Batu Gajah. The first dredge came to Batu Gajah, you know. That was the real dredge. It cost it millions of ringgit, millions of dollars.
Is it still the one, the T15?
That one came later. That is in Tanjung Tualang.
Yeah.
That is the only one to show people. Now people come and you talk dredge to your nephew, niece or children or anybody, they won't know what is dredge. I mean, some of you all also have not seen. I have seen because I was small at that time. Yeah.
Can I just add on the dredge?
Yeah.
There's actually two dredge. One in Batu Gajah. I'm actually I was brought up in a tin mine in a place called Petaling in Banting. There's actually another dredge there. Not many people know.
Well, they are not, it's not open to public. Most of the dredge was sold to Indonesia, Indonesian company lah, right? So can you see the dulang system I told you? And then that is the dredge that I'm talking about. And to transport them, by that time we were quite modern. We had a locomotive engine. The engine that was invented by Louis Steven. That engine, can you see that? You have to use a lot of charcoal and they produce a lot of steam. That was the means of transport. And can you see at the back the cubicle boxes? That is where the tin has been transported to Port Well, where they will ship it to England or wherever they want to. Okay? Can anybody tell me why this cenotaph was erected here? No. Memorial. That's right. Memorial because we had a few wars. One of them was the First World War. Did we experience First World War? No. We never experienced First World War. Then why are there names here? This is a question that we must provoke in our thought. We never experienced First World War, but the names are here is because, you see, all these people here, if you find these English names, very English names, right? And these people were actually soldiers in this country when the British were here. So when the First World War took place, they wanted soldiers. So they were known as soldiers from Malaya. So they were sent to places where the need required. And unfortunately, all of them were killed. And for your information, all these are very young fellas, you know. Fellas aged between 18 to 21 or 22. Because I saw their age written when I went to Kanchanapuri. Kanchanapuri has the biggest burial ground. Somewhere near the bridge over River Kwai. If you go there, you can see very young people, very, very young. Unfortunately, so they died. So this is in remembrance of them. every year in the month of June, the first week of June, these fallen heroes, I call them the fallen heroes. They are battalions in their country, representative from Australia, England, India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, will come here. The ambassadors will come here, place a wreath of flower, and it's like giving a matter of respect for the fallen heroes. So that is why they had this cenotaph. Unfortunately, this part, the other part of the cenotaph was stolen by irresponsible people. You know why? Actually this is valuable. See, just because you wanted an extra cent or what, you take away history, which is not right. Yes, no, the other one, the other part. So luckily they save it, and that is why they close with all these things.
Actually, just to add on, there were a lot of names here, and non-British names, you know, Asian names. But those were, I don't know, vandalized or removed. And I heard it is lying in some JKR, some storeroom, you know.
Okay.
It's a Tambi Pillai. Dato has got some of them.
Okay, now we have the other one here, this side. We come this side. So during the Japanese era, we also experienced a very unfortunate thing that
This card?
this was one of these ones, right?
Seriously?
Yeah. So this one, what happened was, so the Japanese forced labor, they took a lot of Indians, especially, and some Chinese and other, even the white soldiers and all, and asked them to build the railway line from from Thailand to Burma. That's why I told you Kanchanapuri, from that district to Burma, terrible thing. So along the way, many of them died. So in memorial of them, our government gave this just to remember them. So if you were to see the number, it is almost 80,000. 80,000 unfortunate people. Now this is in the memorial. Is it there or not?
Yeah, you know it's there.
To get your attention, you see that 1895. That is the time. In 1885, it got its royal status from Sultan Azlan Shah. Then only they changed the name Royal Club. Before that, it was only known as Ipoh Club. Right?
What year was it, bro?
1885. 1885. That one you must ask the previous Sultan why he got it, because he used to
Since
patronize.
1895.
The royal status was obtained in 1985.
Oh.
This was here 1895. So when the British started this club, no Asians are permitted to be members here. So they had a board outside. No dogs and Asians are allowed.
Oh my God.
No, it is true. I share this with the British citizens and all when they come. No dogs and Asians are allowed.
Do you have a photo or something of that?
Oh, I must search on this because they go and
Delete it.
Because this happened only in China at the time.
yeah.
Here
It happened
also.
right in Ipoh.
Right here?
Yeah. No, outside they wrote there, no Asians, no dogs. So the Asians are not permitted to come here. Those who worked here, they will be like this. Yes, sir. You can't see, Now I can see your beautiful eyes. Those days, like this. Yes, sir. No, sir. So these were the workers there. This is the reality that I read because I went to the archives to go and dig it out to do all this research before I share with you all. So they had this place for them to drink. Women are not allowed. White women also not allowed.
Oh,
only when occasion.
Dogs and women.
No. Women was not written there. But women, when they have occasion, they call them for dancing. The men, the British are very dominating, They had their club, they had their bars, they had a smoking room, they had a reading room, they had a billiard room. And of course they had a pool room where they play all this Jim Ramlila, whatever game they have to play, card games and all this thing, gambling and all. That was it. Once in a while, they will call their wives for dancing. Then they have dinner and dance. Besides that, it is dominated by men. Then many years later, many moons, as they say, then only the first Asian, that was somewhere near in 1900. The first Asian was a very rich medicine man. His name was Yu Tongsen. Yu Tongsen is from Gopeng.
Yeah.
I don't know the Chinese name. I'm telling you in English.
Go Yan San.
The medicine.
Go Yan San.
Yukong's only son.
is the founder of Yan San.
So Yu Tong San came here. The British fellas asked him to donate one tree trunk. That is the bar now, the long bar. If you go to the long bar, there is two bars here. This is the royal bar, that's the long bar. If you go to the long bar, that bar is made out of one tree trunk only, one tree trunk. That was donated by Yu Tong San. And upon his donation, he became the first Asian member. Then of course eventually, slowly but surely, when there is no more British, now we have all Asians here. No more British members. All are Chinese and Indians and very small number of Malays. Okay? Batu Gajah had a jail or gaol, they call it. Still there, you see. So they bring all the criminals, and we have a underground tunnel from the railway station. This is the hidden secret. Underground tunnel. Yes. If you see one of the articles that I wrote to Ipoh about the underground tunnel. They used to go down there, bring the criminals right to the town hall. The town hall, they go to the police station, check their records, and then they bring them here. Okay? Why do they do such things? Is because they don't want the public to know these criminals. They are really hardcore criminals lah. So this was the way they were doing. Everything was underground. Today the tunnel still exists, but for safety reasons, the Majlis Bandaran has sealed it lah, for safety reasons lah. How many of you all have gone to Saigon, Vietnam? I'm sure you have achieved tunnel. That's only a small part. And it's so scary, you know. When I went there, I went to crawl, I got what they call it, claustrophobia. I turned out sweating. Many of them did that, isn't it? Cannot. Okay. You did it, you went through. Oh, good. Cannot lah, I cannot. Because it's so romantic, you're so close and there's no space. So similarly, this is also a small field, but of course they don't crawl lah. There in Vietnam they crawl, here they walk, but for safety reasons they have sealed it. Okay? So that is how. This thing started. But this building was built somewhere in 1928. 1928 or 1920 something they started. Officially opened 1928. This is also the same pattern like how I told you about the railway station. If you were to stand at one position, keep, you will see the railway station, the town hall, the court, as if you're not in Ipoh, you are in some foreign country. Maybe Raymond, you have the expertise of taking your pictures in such a manner, and one day post it to me, I'll share it with them.
It's the most beautiful place in Ipoh.
Yes, it's the most beautiful. No, the problem is, all of you all are staying in Ipoh. How many of you all will just stop by and see Ipoh? 155 buckets. That is the bucket that scoops the soil. The first time you're seeing the bucket, scoop the soil, and then it will then eventually place the soil into an oscillating drum, and in the oscillating drum it will now separate the soil and the thing off. You have seen the dredge, isn't it? Tengok kan? Apa kapal korek? This is the inner part of the kapal korek. Many people didn't know. That here also you have one. Here, right here you have one. That's why I brought you here. So you can see this. Okay, they are playing something in the field. So we will settle it. No, that dredge is still there. We can go and see one day, no problem. But this is one of the components inside the dredge. Okay? Right. Now, if you were to look here, from here, actually I was supposed to take you there to sit down, but they are playing football. So I don't want to take you there, it will be very hot. You want to go and sit down there, or you want to be here? You be here, huh? Yes or not?
Yeah.
Sorry. Interrupted. Okay, now actually we can't see the St. Michael's School.
You can see from here.
Can see from here. Roshan, you can see, the longest school facade, front facade in Perak. I did not say other state. Here, it's the longest. You go to any school, it is not as such. home. Here, okay. 1900, when the British were here, that was actually called Kampung Pisang. It was called Kampung Pisang. It was a real Malay kampung. Malay houses, they're small attap houses. So the British acquired that land from a Malay man, and they built the school from the house itself. They started with 30 students inside the house. Eventually, when the students swelled, they built a bigger school. So that time, the school was manned by the LaSalle brothers. So one of the teacher who came from France, he was an architect before. So since he came here for teaching, he was the one who designed that building. That building, he used Gothic architecture. Why Gothic architecture? You can see poles pointing on top, and you will see gables and knees where they place statues. If you go closer, you will see statues. You will see Saint Michael carrying a baby there. Anybody from Saint Michael? Am I? Huh? Am I right or not?
Yes.
But I'm from ACS, huh?
Always right.
Okay, so never mind, joke, huh? So that's a three layer. That's a double story, building there. Another remarkable thing about the architecture is they have built the class in such a way that it will only face south and north. Can anybody tell me the reason why? One, two, huh?
Good feng shui.
Good feng shui. Okay,
Not to face the sun.
huh?
Not to face
Yeah,
east or west.
exactly. Because the sun rises from the east. East.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it rises from the west.
East.
Okay, it rises from the east and sets at the west. So that is why when the students are sitting down in our schools, we'll be facing the sun. Cannot see the teacher, then you put out. Isn't it? We have experienced it. I have experienced that, putting the blocking the face and all these things. Here you don't do it. But the lousiest thing about Saint Michael is third floor. No.
Okay.
No OSC here. Don't worry.
Third floor, okay.
Third floor, there is a ghost. Yes or not?
Yes.
Yes. Hantu. All these the Japanese that who killed them. This is not a joke, you know. I don't believe in ghosts either, but I got my friends who tell me that they have heard noises lah. They didn't see any ghosts, but they have heard noises because many people were brutally murdered in the school during the Japanese era. So that is about the school. Right beside the school, you will see a mosque. Can you see the mosque? Okay, that is called the Indian mosque. Because a small segment of Indians are also Muslims in this country. So in 1900, when they came down here to work, they went to the Palo Mosque. The Palo Mosque is a Malay mosque. What happened at that time was, when the Indians went to that mosque in Palo, the locals didn't welcome them. You know, in English, we have a terminology called xenophobia. You heard of this xenophobia? Xenophobia is a strong dislike against foreigners. Okay, Indians foreigners at that time. Right? Now we are Malaysians and foreigners. So the local Malays didn't like them. They didn't welcome them. So one of the businessmen who had a aerated water company, that means they make all the soft drinks, was quite a rich fella. So said, never mind, we will build our own mosque. So he bought that piece of land, and slowly he built the Indian mosque. That's why the whole structure is very Indian-like, Mughal, the minaret. And can you see a triangle sort of figure there in the middle? Roof there, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, that triangle roof is where at the below where there is the prayer hall. The prayer hall takes there. Alright? So that was built by Sheikh Ahmad. His name is Sheikh Ahmad. If you go to Mubarak bookstore, the whole stretch is an Indian structure building. So it belongs to the same family. They were staying there and they built the thing. Okay, that is about the mosque in Kampung Pisang. And you see the field. This field was created in the year 1898 to commemorate Queen Victoria's coronation. So this was contributed by the miners and the local Chinese community. They brought in 25,000 straight dollars to make this field live. Then only they had the parade and all. Eventually, the British took over and made her as one of the best cricket pitch in the country. One of the best, you know, they brought the soil from Australia. But unfortunately, we have got great engineers and great people who doesn't know how to appreciate all these things. Now, I don't know what to do. Now they're trying to do something. Okay. Because I used to play cricket here, and you know, there is a nets here. You walk by, you see nets. You know the net? You know, do you know why the nets are there? Do you know, girls, why the nets are there? No. You? No. Jackie, no. Okay, I'll tell you why. That nets is where we practice our batting. Somebody will bowl and we will practice batting. Today I see tractors and other things are parked inside. That means the original purpose has been defeated or due to ignorance. Actually the place is for, and they still play cricket, but they don't use it. They park the tractors there. Tomorrow you'll see there's a small stall selling something else. It's reality, huh? Okay, now we have finished this. Alright, now, can you all see this building here? Now this building was built somewhere in 1930 onwards. This is called Straits Electric Building. This is a mixture of Asian, mostly Chinese, and a little bit of European texture. And the builders were mostly Chinese. Okay, the original building, this was not the roof, you know. They have terracotta tiles lah. You know, the type of primitive type of tiles. No more already. All the tiles are changed. Second thing, the only one that is original I can see is Kopi Pachi lah. Pachi is the original. Can you see on top or not? That is called a turret. Turret is where you have some passage for air and light. And that is the original pattern lah. The rest of all have changed and all. Tiles also have changed. That is not the tiles. But the facade in front is almost the same. And can you see? So this stretch were all built in Ipoh, and it has one specialty. Can you all please tell me what is the specialty?
SP.
I asked building. I didn't ask people. So anybody answer? No answer. Never mind. I'll give you the answer. The specialty is, these are the only shop houses that has compound. When you go others, there's only a walk-away. Compound. They have personal compound. Can you see personal compound? Okay, this is a specialty in Ipoh. You can never find this anywhere in Ipoh. Only here. Of course, Penang they have a lot. Penang they have a lot. But Ipoh, this is the only type. And Patti is the place where the famous PPP party, People Progressive Party, was born here, because this was the DR Srinivasagam's law firm at that time. Mostly lawyers here now. The last one is a Lingam lawyer. He's still around, but his daughter has taken over. He has left, but the daughter has taken over. The rest are all are now turned into some cabin la, some pub la, some chendoi la, and all these places. Earlier, it was a lawyer's row. Lawyer Street. Yes, lawyer's row. All the lawyers were here. Now they don't want this type of place. They want to go to a better, sophisticated places lah. But of course, the other part is still the lawyers. So that is why this place is quite famous. Okay? Shall we? English setup, you know. Similarly, here also say this was their biggest center. So this is basically a British building also. Like this one here, they use the Art Deco architecture. Art Deco architecture came much later. Art Deco. So this is Art Deco. You can see the roof. On top is a garden, you know. There is a garden. Yes. There is a garden there, but you can't see it. But you see all the decoration and all. It's a fantastic, very nice. Originally, it was known as Mercantile Bank. It's a bank, you know. It was a bank. This was a bank. You can see all the companies. Type of things. You can now find it. All now taken over by people. They were doing some beauty thing here now. Unless you want to buy this building.
Then you can invite us.
And these buildings will cost you a fortune. A fortune means how much of money you have also you cannot raise the money. So very rich people. I know one chap who was an engineer in Indonesia, coal mine. His name is Lim Kopi. He bought a few buildings. Lim Kopi has got one restaurant there. Okay, that is the owner. Lim Kopi, I know him. He has the money, he can buy. I got another one more friend who's a doctor. He has the money. He bought most of the buildings in Concubine Lane. He's not a Chinese man. He's a Bengali doctor, Dr. Mike. If you go to Greentown, you find Mike's Corner or something like that. That owner there, Mike's place. Mike was my senior in school. So these are the people who got hefty money. From where they find, you don't ask me, they can buy. Okay. So this is a beautiful building here. Now this is the most beautiful building. This tower here, can you see the tower? This is another building structure, I don't want to say. This was the original Osborne and Chappell's building. Osborne and Chappell are mining consultant and engineers. That time they had very few mining consultants. They had Trono mines, they had Anglo mines or something like that, 1 or 2 or 3. But these were the most famous people. They made a fortune out of everything. Osborne and Chappell. Osborne and Chappell's, they were staying in Indulgence. You know the Indulgence? That is where their home is. Then you can imagine, that is their home, original home. So you can imagine how rich they are. So this was their office. So besides the office, they have a pavilion on the 4th floor. Can you see the pavilion there? 3rd floor. I don't know what they go and do there. So always they have secret meeting to make money, they'll go out there. But they were the mining consultants. They conquered mining in this Kinta Valley. And then they went to Gopeng and other places in Perak. But mainly in Ipoh. So this was their building. This came in 1960 something. This is the first double-story car park in Perak. First. This came later. And all these are the British enclavement. Memorial was erected here in 1909 because in memorial of the first resident of Perak. The first resident of Perak was James Birch. See, James Birch, when we had the resident system, James Birch, he interfered in the cultural and the religious of the Malay community, because at that time they were the ones who were here. So due to that angered them. So when one fine day when he was bathing, he was bathing in a boat house. Those days they have boat house. He was bathing in the boat house in a place called Pasir Sola. So at that time, Datuk Maharaja Lela, Datuk Sago and a few people came, and there was a guy by the name of Siputum. He speared him. He was the one who speared James Birch, and James Birch was murdered there. So in memorial of his, the 4th resident of Perak was his son, James Birch Jr. So he was the one who proposed this structure, which cost him 25,000 straight dollars. Do you know what is the worth at today's rate? Almost $2 million, almost 2 million ringgit, 2 million ringgit. So if you were to watch on that structure, it is an Italian structure, 10.5 meter tall, 10.5 meter tall. And that structure here, we will look at the bottom part. It is guarded with a pyramid type of what do you call that? Columns. Can you see that? 4 columns. The first structure here, the first column here, they had a niche at the back. A niche means it's a space where you keep a bust. You know bust? Bust is like a face made out of bronze or copper or whatever, silver, whatever thing. So we had a bronze bust of Birch. It went missing somewhere in the 1990s. Same like what I told you. Now you see, now you don't. So we had something missing there. We had Birch bust went missing. So that was why the first element. The second is called the Fizi column. You can see 44 figures there. 44 figures. If you can recognize, you see, I can recognize, you can see Moses, you can see Moses, then you can see some Persians there, you can see Lao Tzu, Buddha, Confucius, some Greek characters and all these things. Similarly, if you go around, you will see this type of figures that are popularly known. Okay? Then you have the facade for the bell, I mean for the clock, time. Now, and you have a mother bell which weighed around 500 kilograms. 500 kilograms accompanied by small bells.
Also missing.
No.
Baca.
Oh dear, they can't carry 500 kilograms.
If 50 kilos, probably missing.
Yeah,
It's a big
you
tube.
guys,
Yeah.
you are a clever student. 500 cannot go missing, but
You
it's
go
a,
missing in the class.
but you go missing from the class. It will chime like the Big Ben from London. If it is almost time, you can listen to the chime. Okay?
Big bang.
So now we are going to. Okay, now I want to ask you something. You saw all these figures. These figures is what is these figures? Is it a painting, Raymond? The figures are paintings. Was it painted there?
No.
Huh?
No
On the tiles they painted. They painted on the tiles. Okay. Thank you for giving me the answer. I just want to share with you some of my little knowledge. I have read many books about this memorial, and every time they write is painting, painting, painting. Okay, my research has proven that this is not a painting. This was actually ordered tiles. The British government then ordered this tile from a company called Boulton, B-O-U-L-T-O-N, in London. They only make special design tiles, all right, custom tiles. So that was the tiles that was brought here. So they placed 44 famous figures. One figure was erased. It was Nabi Muhammad's figure. We had a lot of opposition, so they disfigured it. Okay. Now, if you go on the higher ground there, you can see some terracotta statues mounted on the pedestal. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Now, you see the man with sword, a man who's just sitting there, and all this. You got another 2 more statues there. There are 4 statues. These 4 statues represent the virtue of the British administration. Justice is with the sword. Then you have a patient. Justice, patient. Patient got nothing. You're just a bare man. Then with the sword is a fortitude. And another one more is loyalty. These are the 4 virtues of the British government then. Alright? So that is the structure. Now, shall we go around and see and just do some guessing game? Come.